Hi guys, how are you doing today? So in today's video we're gonna be creating our authorization with NestJS. So we're gonna be doing some strategies here, and guards and decorators and etc. So let's go to our schema.prisma here and create an enum of roles that will have admin and user, and add and role array in the user module with the default value as user. So let's build this here, and there we go. When you create the user, it will have a default user role. So now our blog post here, and then we have a user will have many posts, and a post will have a user, the owner of the post. Okay, so let's add here user ID, and then user relation here. So create a branch and docker start our Nest Authentication database. So run the migration here too. So there we go. Now we'll create our roles decorator here. So let's build a folder here, and we will use this decorator to set the necessary roles to the route. Okay, so there we go. Creating here. We pass the roles key here as in const because we're gonna be using somewhere else. So let's import here the roles that come from Prisma client. So there we go. I had a little problem there with the name. So now when I edit the roles const decorator, it's gonna have a problem because roles is already used. So I called this decorator roles decorator, so we won't have any problem. So there we go. Now we create the RoleGuard. It's almost the same logic as the others, but in this one we'll check if the user that is doing the request has the required roles that we passed in the decorator. So our user DTO has to return the roles array, and also our login method in the auth service. But we're gonna be doing this soon enough. So there we go. We pass the can activate. We implement the can activate, and we'll pass here a const required roles. There we go. So that's the roles key that returning there. So if not required roles, we'll return true. So if we don't have any roles we don't have a required role to do this request, we return true, then we'll pass everything. So now we check if the required roles are in the user roles, so the user that is doing the request. So if it returns true, okay. If it returns false, it will return an error. So there we go. Now we have to pass the roles in the user DTO, and there's an array of roles. The roles come from the Prisma client, and then in the auth service there we have the login method. So we have to pass the roles as the user roles that come from the payload. So we will edit the payload too. There we go. Now we'll test some things here. We have to start the application first. There we go. We now have our user roles here. When we create a user, we have a problem. Not all roles has the JWT authentication or the RoleGuard, so we'll implement this next. So as you can see there, we can do all the requests except for the protected one that is in the app controller. So now we're gonna be passing some validations there. So now in our auth module, we will provide a app guard. The app guard will be using the JWT auth guard. So now all the routes are being secured, and you have to pass the tokens when you do the request. There we go. So now if I try to post user, we'll have an unauthorized. So if I try to create, we'll have an unauthorized. And if I pass the bearer token here, now I can create the user. Okay, so now in our create user DTO, I'll add the roles field so we can pass them when creating the user. And I will create a user here in Postman. There we go. Let's do this. Test roles, the name, another one, and pass the roles field here in the body. So admin and user. There we go. As you can see there, it went in unauthorized. So why is that? That unauthorized is because our app guard started to secure our login route. So, but it doesn't make sense, okay? Because the route has to be public, so anyone that has the credentials can log in. So we'll have to pass the public decorator here. Let's create it, and we'll change some things in the JWT off guard too, but that's soon enough. So the roles decorator is the same logic as the roles the public decorator, same logic as the roles decorator. We pass this is public key, and then we set metadata. There we go. So in the JWT off guard, we have to pass some configurations here. So we have a constructor that will receive the reflector and super, and then we can activate. So we'll check if this public is passed in the as a decorator. So is public and return true, else we'll return whatever the can activate there is. So we handle request. If error or not user, we throw the error or the unauthorized, else we'll just return the user. So there we go. Now we'll be able to access without the token. So when we pass the request there in the Postman, and let's import there in the app controller. So now I can do this. This guy right here, we have to pass the bearer token. So there we go. Now we can see all the users, the list of users, and we most likely can create a user for now. But why we can create a user? Because we still didn't pass the RoleGuard there. So we're gonna be building this right now. So in the app controller, we'll use guards, the roles guard, and we'll pass the roles decorator, passing the role that that is allowed to access this route. So now if we try to do this request, we'll return a forbidden results. So now I'm gonna be logging in as this user that has the admin role, and there we go, our access token, and the token is already there in the authorization. So now I'll try to create another user. And there we go, name, email, I'm gonna be changing here, and there we go. So now in the pass the user there as a role, and then we have a forbidden access here. So now let's check out and debug it as a JavaScript developer should. There we go, we have a forbidden in everything. So let's fill some console.log here as a true JavaScript developer. A post request here and check out. So I think I forgot to put the roles in somewhere around the JWT strategy. So we'll check out here. The auth service is all good. It's returning the roles, but the problem is JWT strategy. I didn't pass the roles payload in the validate here. So let's do this. There we go. So now if I try to send a request, it will be unauthorized because the bearer token expired. There we go, create another one, and I'll try to create a user. As you can see, we managed to create it because we are logged in as a admin user. There we go. Now I'll try to log in as this user that I just created that only has the user role. There we go, log in and send the request, and there we have it, a forbidden access. So that's it, guys. That's the authorization with NestJS and Prisma. I hope you enjoyed, and let's learn a lot together. So don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching.